Normalcy has returned to the PBA as Norm Duke is set to roll under the lights, while history could be made again by Walter Ray Williams Jr. The Denny's World Championship, the third major of the season, starts now. They are two legends of the game who've experienced opposite seasons. Walter Ray Williams Jr. sits in control of his 7th Player of the Year honor, a title today, and he would earn his 8th major, tied for tops in the history of this sport. Is this the calm before the storm for Norm Duke? Injuries have ravaged this season for the 26-time titleist. Today, Duke makes his first TV appearance of the season with a keen eye on celebrating his 3rd major. Don't go nowhere! Today, Woodland Bowl in Indianapolis hosts the 3rd of the 4 majors on the Denny's PBA Tour. Welcome to ESPN's 90 minutes worth of live coverage of the 2008 Denny's World Championship. The tournament began Tuesday with a field of 228. Here's your remaining 4. 18-time member of the Australian national team, Andrew Frawley. Ryan Shafer has been teased multiple times in the major. Can he get his first today in a heavyweight second semifinal? Pitch 26-time titleist Norm Duke versus the living legend, Walter Ray Williams Jr. Glad you're with us today from Indianapolis. Rob Stone, Randy Peterson with you. And this truly is a world championship. Bowlers from 5 different continents representing 7 different countries were on hand this week. And for the first time ever,
in the round of 8, takes him to 7 games just to make the telecast. He said, Randy, Rob, this is the biggest thrill of my bowling life.
And he and his buddies had to improvise this week just to get him some bowling jerseys for this week. And he came with nothing but blue jeans. They actually had to go out and buy some pants, otherwise he would have been fine. It's amazing. His competitor, Ryan Shafer, making his 10th majors televised appearance, still looking for that elusive first major title.
Yeah, and what's amazing to me is this former Rookie of the Year only has 4 titles. Ryan's one of the most consistent players out here on the Denny's PBA Tour, and he makes a lot of shows in majors, but he's still looking for that first major victory. But who could forget last season in this very bowling center, Ryan Shafer bowls the 18th televised 300 game.
And semifinal number 2 has 2 legends going at it, a combined 70 titles between Duke and Williams Jr.
2 of the greatest the game's ever seen. Walter Ray Williams Jr., if he wins today, he will go over $4 million in career earnings.
Now, a major title is worth 24 points in the Denny's Player of the Year race, and those points would elevate Walter Ray Williams Jr.'s lead over Chris Barnes from the 8 that it's at right now to potentially 28 by the end of the day, and that would be an almost vice-like grip on the Player of the Year title. So semifinal number 1. The Australian Andrew Frawley taking on Ryan Shafer from Horseheads, New York. Schafer, this is the 2nd appearance in a major final this season. He finished 3rd at the H&R Block Tournament of Champions, and he is coming in on a roll. He has won his last 10 games and 12 of his last 13 leading up to this.
It's been a real solid second half of the season for Ryan Shafer.
He's gone from 34 to 15th on the PBA World Point list in the second half of this season.
It's okay when you come in light and just leave the 2-pin instead of leaving the 2-8-10. That's all right, especially your first shot, first match, bowling for a major. Leaves you an easy spare. Ryan talked about the oil pattern to us last night and said, you know, we're going to start around second arrow, and as soon as that breaks down, we're all going to move in. But look for Norm Duke and Walter Ray in our next semifinal to play the extreme outside part of the lane.
And now some thunder from down under. 6'5", 220 from Black Butt, New South Wales, Australia. If you're looking for a good story on why the town is called Black Butt, well, if you're an arborist, you might enjoy it. It's an Aboriginal name for one of the trees there. That's how we like to start. Frawley versus Schafer, and we touched on the storylines of Frawley, and we could have spent an hour pregame show just discussing what has been for Andrew Frawley. He's been in the States for the last couple weeks, came to Vegas to roll in some amateur tournaments, and then went to Milwaukee for a coaching clinic with the USBC, and then got talked into bowling here. Whoa. I don't know what they call a Brooklyn strike in Australia. Maybe a Sydney?
Andrew right now just trying to stay upright, man. He is just so nervous. What a nice guy. I tell you what, we've interviewed a lot of players out here. He was one of the best interviews we've ever done, and one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Schafer coming off a spare here in the second frame. Right through the nose, and again, fortunate that he gets a lot to drop.
Yeah, he was looking at the 4-7-10 split there for a second, and now only the 4-pin, so that's good news. Remember, the first shot he threw on the left lane went light. That's right around the third arrow, just a little bit right for Ryan, but not far enough right, and a nice break again. But I think Ryan is just a couple of breaks away from winning majors. You know, he said he should have won the U.S. Open a couple of years back and felt like he out-bowled Tommy Jones. And, you know, no matter how good you are out here, you still have to have some breaks go your way in order to win.
3 times he's been a runner-up in a major. And you see his conclusion places in majors. Schafer in the third. Spare so far for him.
Frame just doesn't hook.
But he's playing both lanes completely different. That shot there is around the second arrow. So it looks like the left lane's a lot tighter than the right lane. You see that right over second arrow. That one doesn't make it up to the pocket. And the players, all 4 of the players said the same thing. They said the high end of this center here at Woodlawn played a little bit slicker than the rest of the center.
So both times on the left lane, he's left the 2-pin standing. Three frames, 3 spares for Schafer. Andrew Frawley with a win would earn a berth in next year's Tournament of Champions, but not get the 2-year tour exemption because he is an amateur. Rolled 2 300 games this week. There were 3 rolled total. Missing the head pin.
Boy, he looked like he got a little fast there, lost his balance, and just the nerves and the excitement of being on television for the first time, it'll make you do things like this.
Staring a washout after starting with back-to-back strikes. Oof.
Only one?
You hear it in his voice. You know he's disappointed, but he's still having fun. And he was so enjoyable yesterday. And he said, my attitude here, have fun and don't embarrass myself. You know, way to set the standards high. He's, you know, I'm rolling Pete Weber's down the lane. I'm nervous as all heck, you know, seeing all these stars here. Nice recovery here in the 4th.
Notice how balanced he was after he let go of that shot. And that's really the blueprint for Andrew Frawley. He's got to keep his right foot on the ground, stay balanced at the foul line, and he'll make good shots.
But that open frame in the 3rd giving Schafer a window here as we take a look at his form.
There you go. The right foot's on the ground. He stays nice and balanced. Keep his eyes on his target.
still seeking his first strike of the day is Schafer.
All 9 spares so far if he converts here. And with a spare, he will maintain a 10-pin lead.
So the 87 PBA Rookie of the Year gets yet another spare. Lead at 10. This is Schafer's 6th top 10 finish of the season, and the second time he'll finish in the top 4 at a major. His last title 91 events ago.
He really had a nice run in match play, too. Sweeping his last 2 opponents, Chris Barnes and Tom Doherty.
A little bit of a straighter approach there that time.
Well, he kept it on line a little bit better. He hit his target, made a great shot. The ball ends up high flush. Make no mistake about it, the lanes were not easy this week. Scoring pace much lower than we've seen. This is the World Championships. Normally we put out a little bit tougher oil pattern. Look out.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Frawley has kind of been all over the place here on his last couple of rolls. An open frame, a strike, and he almost lost that one in the gutter. I mean,
nerves.
Almost lost that one in the gutter.
See his right leg off the ground there. I'll tell you, there's nothing like bowling in this situation. If you haven't been here, there's really no way to prepare for it.
1-2-5.
It's got a hooky yard. No problem.
No problem.
He's going metric on us.
This week, rooming with his best friend, Tim Mack. Timmy Mack used to be out on this tour. So you see what Andrew did this week, round for round. Or, excuse me, what everybody did round for round. And look how much higher the scores went up in the round of 8. But remember, you had less players. And in the bracketed format, you stay on one pair of lanes. Staying with Tim Mack this week, who lives here with his wife in Indianapolis.
Hello, Pocket.
Along with the #1 amateur bowler in the world, Jason Belmonte.
This has been an interesting semi-#1. Schafer finally gets a strike. Frawley's been all over the place. It's going to be a fun conclusion. The Denny's World Championship is brought to you by Denny's, home of the real breakfast made just for you. Thanks to Diggy Jones, and welcome back to Indianapolis for the 2008 Denny's World Championship, 6th major that Woodland Bowl has hosted here. And Ryan Shafer about to roll in the 6th with a 10-pin lead over the Australian Andrew Frawley. Let's remember that one.
Right now, Ryan Shafer's rolling dirty, and he's getting a lot of nice breaks. Kicks the 10 out late. You see the style of Ryan Shafer there. Again, this could be 4-7-10. Huge break right there, kicking the 10 out late. And that's right, I said rolling dirty.
I liked it. I knew what you meant. 6 frames, just 1 strike for Schafer, yet he has a 10-pin lead as we open up the 7th. Andrew Frawley has thrown 4 strikes, yet an ugly open frame in the 3rd.
Yeah, 5-1 in the 3rd frame for Andrew. Lost count and an open frame. It's like losing 20 pins in 1 frame.
And he almost lost the ball in the gutter in the 5th.
Left. And all of the breaks right now going Schafer's way.
A dirty Brooklyn.
And that's okay because he's been on the other side of that a lot. Andrew threw a Brooklyn early on for a double. Ryan Shafer says, you know what? Let me try that side and see what happens. Second strike.
Just a second strike. Now you have to sit back and smile. Here's Andrew Frawley, former coach of the Kuwait national team and current coach of the United Arab Emirates national team.
Right leg up, right through the schnozola.
Well, Frawley honestly came to watch this week from a coaching perspective, hoping to get some video, and no video allowed, and you're probably not going to want much video of some of his shots today. There's a good spare pickup.
Yeah, it is. Real good. Still a 10-pin match. Let's take a look at our Etonic Edge with Andrew Frawley. The thing that he looked at was videotape at USBC of keeping this right shoulder down and low and keep it behind the left right at the point of release. That helps free up his arm swing. The other key is keeping the right foot on the ground. Look at this, folks. You notice how the right shoulder is lower than the left? How many times have you heard your friend say, you're dropping your right shoulder, you're dropping your right shoulder? Guess what? You want to drop your right shoulder.
In the video he was watching was that of Chris Barnes. There's a strike for Frawley. And there's his buddy Jason Belmonte.
The #1 ranked amateur in the world. Throws it with two hands. If you ever see or have a chance to watch Jason Belmonte throw it, it's truly an amazing sight.
2 strikes so far for Schafer. Both of them have come on the left lane. Here he is on the right in the 8th.
Well, that was cured. Ryan Shafer taking advantage of that Brooklyn strike in the 7th. Now he's got a 20-pin lead. It can really set it up here with a strike in the 9th frame.
I mentioned Schafer has gone from 34th to 15th on the PBA World Point Ranking list in the second half of this season. And you made a great point, Randy, in the Open. It's hard to believe just 4 Denny's PBA Tour titles on his resume.
And his last win was, what, 03?
03 in Latham, New York, the Empire State Open, November 23rd.
Hard to believe.
Schafer looking for a turkey, a 3-bagger, 3 in a row. Call it what you want.
Come on. Oh. Great shot. Ring in 10. One of the best shots of this game for Ryan Shafer.
Second time today he's left that 10-pin standing all alone. Takes care of the single pin spare. So Frawley back up, and Frawley's been a slow starter all week. In his first games he's been averaging just a shade over 188. If he's able to come back and win this semi and win the title, the first order of business is signing him to an exclusive movie rights deal. Now the big hook is coming in a little late. And Frawley may get the big hook from the stage.
Yes, make it.
Well, he got the flying right elbow going in that shot, and again, the ball goes wide right with a lot of speed. He's made some really nice shots on the left lane. The right lane has been a serious issue for him.
His second washout of the day, both of them coming on the right lane. He was only able to pick up 1 extra pin on his first washout attempt. Gets 2 this time. Well, might be time to start packing the bags and thinking about your flight to Dubai a little bit later this week.
Good idea.
A wonderful run, though, it has been for Andrew Frawley.
Might look like we only play on 1 lane in Australia, but that's not true.
He came with only 2 bowling balls. Obviously, he drilled a few more here. We mentioned he came with nothing but blue jeans, had no bowling jersey.
I think the best statement from him all week was when he said that Australia really is into the PBA. They hold the players in the highest regard, love the PBA. They don't get and that'll seal the deal for him. But they don't always get the telecast. They get him every now and then sporadically. But he says they're really into the PBA Tour in Australia.
And I kept telling us, what an honor this is. How is he going to approach this match? He said, I'm going to go to my coaching guidebook experience, enjoy the moment.
I want to thank you all. I've enjoyed myself. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
A true gentleman.
Thank you very much.
And I asked him yesterday, if you were to become exempt, would you follow up on it? He said, absolutely, without hesitation. But it's going to be Ryan Shafer, teased so many times in the majors, moving on to the title game. Doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to be effective.
Yeah, and I think Ryan's going to watch this next match very closely because in his mind, he's got to think that he's got to shoot more than 2-0 to win this title. And his look from where he's playing the lanes right now doesn't look very good.
Rarely in the semifinals of a major are you throwing only 3 strikes, yet moving on to the title match.
Nice to meet you. Thanks very much, mate. Thanks very much.
So Schafer moves on to yet another title match in a major, winning 204 to 158. Take a look now at our CLR clean sweep, and it was a dirty Brooklyn strike. That may have been enough to get him through.
Yeah, he followed it up with a great pocket hit, give him a double to get him into the 2-0s.
That came in the 7th frame. Schafer moves on, 204-158. When we return, we'll set up semifinal number 2. Hall of Famer Walter Ray Williams Jr. versus future Hall of Famer Norm Duke. Welcome back to Indianapolis. For the 6th time, Woodland Bowl has hosted a PBA major as we get set for semi number 2 between Norm Duke and Walter Ray Williams Jr. Next week, go RVing on the road. We head to the capital of Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. Looking forward to the Don Johnson Buckeye State Classic, live coverage on ESPN at 12:30. And then for the first time ever, the PBA invades Norwich, Connecticut, the Norwich Bowling and Entertainment Center, Sunday, March 9th. Again, live coverage, 12:30 Eastern on ESPN. Up next, a colossal semifinal between Walter Ray Williams Jr. and Norm Duke. And Norm Duke came into this week below the cut line, had 6 did-not bowls, but it was a defiant Duke talking to him yesterday, not letting any negative thoughts creep into his head.
Yeah, we asked him, Norm, are you thinking about the exempt cut line? And he says it's not even a thought. My intentions are going out and winning this event, earning 2-year exemptions. I'm not even worrying about the cut line. It's an afterthought.
So a very motivated Duke who's had a ton of success here in Indy at Woodland Bowl. And he'll be taking on Walter Ray Williams Jr., who for the 51st time will be making back-to-back televised appearances.
It's a great matchup. I'm waiting for oxygen masks to drop from the ceiling for this matchup. Norm Duke taking on the greatest player to ever throw a bowling ball. These guys have a lot of history together. Walter Ray 7-4 all-time against Norm on television. Remember, Norm Duke bowled 300 at him back in 2003. But Walter Ray is still the greatest. He's got 7 shows this season. Norm only has 1. Norm didn't look like he was feeling well. I would have to say advantage Walter Ray Williams Jr. in this match.
He has 7 shows and 7 majors under his belt. With the win, he would tie the great Pete Weber and Earl Anthony for most majors in a career. And a title today, and Walter Ray might think about labeling this as his best season ever. He opened up a huge lead in the Player of the Year race, and he could go over $4 million in winnings. He hits the wood when we return. Welcome back to Indianapolis. $50,000 and a 2-year exemption will go to the winner of the Denny's PBA World Championship. Our thanks go out to Jim Doty and Ken Howard, the GMs of Royal Pin Centers and Woodland Bowl, for their hospitality. So we take a look now at our Motel 6 voting result from last week. What bowler would you like to see competing in the 2008 Motel 6 Roll to Riches? Parker Bone III has some friends who like to text a runaway win for Parker, so he advances to the final vote today. We'll have more on that a little bit later in our broadcast. But right now, we move on to semifinal number 2, the winner to take on Ryan Shafer, who is victorious 204 to 158. And it is a legendary battle. Two great friends, Norm Duke versus Walter Ray Williams Jr. Norm will go first, and this is his first televised appearance of the season. He's been battling injuries and a sickness pretty much all season. I asked him, how do you describe the season? He goes, it hasn't even been one. And I bowled the first 3 tournaments of the year healthy, 0 since then. This week, battling an illness. It's been getting better, but it kicked back in this morning, he was telling me. They're not booing.
And they're not saying movers.
That's how we like to start. Thank you, Norm. And welcome back to TV.
That's Duke. And he's just running on pure adrenaline right now.
Walter Ray Williams Jr. looking for his record-tying 8th career major. Uh-oh.
Remember last week on television, title match against Mike Scroggins, Walter Ray got 0 breaks on television. Yeah, this shot's high, but remember the last match, Ryan Shafer was tripping out the 4-7-10, and right here, Walter Ray leaves it, and he's like, you got to be kidding me.
Schafer may have taken all those breaks to the back room with him right now.
Well, he went for it, and that's okay to do early on. He just loses 1 pin and count, no big deal.
Norm Duke from Claremont, Florida, just a couple miles down the road from you, partner, and Walter Ray Williams Jr. from Ocala. There will be a Sunshine Stater in the final today.
Yeah, Walter Ray about an hour straight up the turnpike.
So Walter Ray, an open frame, 8 in the first. Here he is in the second. That is more like it.
Remember, I told you at the start of this telecast that Walter Ray and Norm Duke, you could probably see them trying to play the outside part of the lane. Norm Duke was mirroring what Walter did in practice. He said, I'm just going to stay just a pinch left of Walter Ray. I'm going to take his hold area away. I'm going to burn up a nice spot for myself. See how it plays out.
I asked Norm yesterday, what if you don't make the exemption cut? And he said, it's not an option. It is not an option to not make it. I will not build plans around failure. Back-to-back jacks for the Duke.
Battling injuries, illnesses. It looks like this morning, not only is he feeling ill from what appears to be bronchitis, some type of viral infection, but it also looks like he has a stiff neck again this morning. He battled that a couple of weeks back. He's been going to chiropractors like it's been going out of style, just trying to get himself healthy to give himself a fighting chance to keep his tour card.
Was at the chiropractor Tuesday and Wednesday this week. Also battling a nasty left calf injury. What injury?
He's a bad mammal. A bad mammal.
He said, though, that he managed himself incorrectly. Should have stayed off the lanes a little bit longer. So eager to get back. He's like, I think I'm back. I think I feel good. And then maybe a day or two later, the calf injury would kick back in again. He said, I really should have just walked away for a while. Here's Walter Ray Williams Jr. The 7th championship round of the season. 2 times a winner, 2 times a runner-up. What have you done with the real Walter Ray?
Back to back. 4-7-10s on the right lane.
Wow.
And so far, Norm Duke's plan is working to perfection. Walter Ray thinks this is a good shot, but Norm Duke's playing out there as well, and that part of the lane is drying up a lot faster than Walter Ray's anticipating.
Second open frame 8 of the first 3 rounds.
Unbelievable.
Down 46.
Now, sitting here, it looks like all Walter Ray has to do is just parallel left, meaning move his feet a couple of boards to the left, move his target a couple of boards to the left, and get a little bit left of where Norm is. But it's hard to second guess the greatest player in the world. I mean, he knows what he's doing, but you got two guys playing the same part of the lane. One guy's going high, the other one's going high flush. Just move a little bit left of him.
Duke, with a 46-pin lead, has started off with 3 consecutive strikes. Now looking for our first ham bone of the afternoon.
Tape, please.
Well,
and you hear Norm asking for tape. This is not something new for him.
No, and Norm, he likes to get a certain feel. He's very particular, very meticulous with the tape in his thumb hole. And Norm's one of the few players out here that doesn't switch to a plastic bowling ball to shoot his spares. He uses the same ball that he uses on a strike ball. Bad break on a 3-bagger, leaving the 4-9.
Okay, buddy.
Right now, all Norm Duke wants to do is stay clean. Let's see if he can slide the 4 into the 9.
Heard a couple sniffles there as well.
Yeah,
in his follow-through.
And interesting that Norm used that bowling ball to shoot that spare with. It's not a spare ball, it's not a plastic ball, but yet it's not the ball he's using on a strike ball. His road to making the championship round, defeated Chris Loschetter 4-zip. Beat some pretty big names there, including defending champion Doug Kent.
Leaves the 10. We asked him about the lanes here, and it was interesting, Randy. I thought he said this building is 10 times more important than the oil pattern that they put on these 80 lanes. You know, so many different parts of the lanes that play different. You really have to learn this building, but once you do, it becomes consistent, and those oil patterns mean almost nothing.
Yeah, it certainly helps to have experience in an 80-lane center.
And there's Walter Ray looking on and staring at an early hole he has dug himself. They've been around Norm Duke the last 24 hours. You feel like you need to be carrying a can of Lysol.
Norm could use a little triage center back in the locker room to kind of help take care of all of his injuries.
Good thing we had him mic'd sound full for the blowing of the nose. Extra audio does have its negatives at times. There we go, Walter Ray. Much needed. An understatement.
And his first mark on the right lane. And he can get right back in this match with a strike here in the 6th. Cut the lead to 22. Put a little bit of pressure back on Norm Duke.
There will be no double.
Double wood.
Wow, thought it fit really well.
Liked it off his hand, leaves it 2-8. That's not a good sign.
So he's going to try and take down this sleeper.
Unbelievable.
Nice bowling term there, Rob.
I've been waiting for that one for the last 3 weeks.
Holy moly. Testing the water out there, Mr. Williams Jr.
Just a little bit. 32-pin lead for Norm Duke, who's sniffling and sneezing and shuffling his way here through the second semifinal of the Denny's World Championship. The conclusion of semi number 2 when we return to Indy. World Championship is brought to you by Denny's, home of the real breakfast made just for you. By Motel 6, official lodging partner of the PBA. By H&R Block. When you got H&R Block, you got people. and by the United States Bowling Congress, ensuring the integrity and protecting the future of the sport of bowling. Bowl with us. Look inside the International Motor Speedway Museum, and there's a look at this week's winners of the Aaron's Rent Dream Seats. It has been a less than dreamy semifinal for Walter Ray Williams Jr. Norm Duke right now with a 32-pin lead as he opens up his effort in the 6th frame, working off a spare after an open frame in the 4th. Walter Ray Williams Jr. has uncharacteristically already thrown 2 open frames. Okay. Way heavy.
One's burned up.
Through the nose.
All right, but now he knows that he has to make an adjustment on that lane.
One's definitely burned up.
And you can hear him saying, it's burned up now, it's burned up. So he's going to parallel in off of that shot right there.
It's definitely burned up. Take the spare.
Norm Duke looks to like he's running on empty right now, like he's on E, and he's just running on fumes. He looks physically exhausted. He hasn't been here in a long time. It's his first telecast of the season, and he's less than 100%.
Found the pocket that time. He opened up with 3 strikes. That's his first since the 3rd frame.
He's only missed the pocket once, and that was 6th frame right lane where he left the 3-6. He's got a 4-9 and a 10-pin, and all the rest are strikes. Walter Ray looking for his 3rd strike and his first double. Not going to happen.
Wow. My ball ripped so bad on TV.
Walter Ray had the #1 average this week, has the #1 average on the tour. This is 11th top 10 finish of the season.
Yay!
And 5th straight, and he is in no mood to talk about how well things have gone for him this season, because things are not going up to his standards today. Not even close.
Well, he said it. My ball reaction stinks today. It's awful. Somehow try to find a way to get the ball to hook up into the pocket the way you want. Maybe a little bit more rotation from the line that he's playing so that the ball can drive through the 1-3 pocket.
And you see he, again, is wearing that right wrist brace. Been wearing it since El Paso. Much better from Walter Ray. Talk to him about that wrist. That's been bothering me. It's sore. Even when I wear it, usually he just throws it on during warm-ups. Kind of similar to a tennis elbow type brace. Doesn't know if it really helps, but as he says, it doesn't hurt. As long as I don't lose feeling in my fingers, I'll keep it going. Here's Norm Duke feeling it here in the 8th, up 30. 1. Yeah!
Huge!
That messenger came with some venom.
Huge, huge shot. Norm Duke working on a strike. He's got a 31-pin advantage. He knows he can take a huge lead and watch the head pin go to the sidewall and take the 10 out. It goes down like a keg at a frat party.
So now a double for Duke as he opens up play in the foundation frame, the 9th, looking for a 3-bagger.
Norm said the right lane now is hooking more than the left lane, and that directionally looked like a really good shot. It just had a little bit too much pace. Norm Duke now looking at shooting or converting the 2-7, maintaining a big lead. The best Walter Ray can shoot if he strikes out 9th and 10th is 203. Norm Duke is in the 2 teens right now.
Hook.
Another nice spare pickup.
So no matter what Walter Ray does in the 9th and 10th frame, if Norm Duke marks in the 10th and gets reasonable count, he's going to bowl Ryan Shafer for the title.
We've seen Walter Ray perform in clutch situations before. That looks nice.
Wow, that's pretty sad. Really sad.
Sounds to me like Walter Ray made the wrong decision on how to play the lanes. All of a sudden, he saw something with that shot right there.
Me? Anything? First time ever.
Now we saw him miss a single pin 10 pickup a couple weeks back.
Yeah, but that's like a lunar eclipse. It happens like once every how many years? Come on, you're an astronomer. How many years? We just had one the other night.
I know. I actually watched it.
Jason's still here?
Walter Ray's going to throw it with two hands. He's so crazy.
Get there! Get there!
Well, Norm Duke needs to stay behind the foul line, keep it on the lane, and he's going to bowl Ryan Shafer for the title. Yeah. Officially over. 182 if he throws both shots in the channel. So Norm Duke will advance, take on Ryan Shafer, and he's had a lot of success against Ryan. 6-0 on television to be exact.
But nobody has really been able to figure out these lanes today. I mean, Schafer won with a 204-158 victory. The best in the world, Walter Ray Williams Jr. walks away with a 180.
Could stand to make this. Get another shot.
Norm Duke tried a different bowling ball to get a little different look there, and now left himself in a pretty tough spot. He wants one more shot.
Get them all.
And he'll get it.
He's going to look at another, maybe a ball change or an alignment change to see if he can get a little bit better look on that right lane. He's going over to the other rack to find another sphere to see if he can get a little bit different look. See what this one looks like. Very aggressive bowling ball. Early rolling, not a lot of back end.
Think we'll see it again?
Oh no, he left a flat 10 and we don't like leaving flat 10s.
208, 180. Duke moves on. 208 is your high score for the day. So Duke will move on to the title game where he'll take on Ryan Shafer. When we return, we pop the clutch, hit the gas, and pull into a PBA pit stop Indy style. You're going to enjoy this when we return.
Contamination.
PBA event in Indianapolis in the 25th here at Woodland Bowl. It's the Denny's World Championship, and our finals are set. Norm Duke will take on Ryan Shafer. Always like to take care of the birthday girls in our world. The Duke moves on, and we move on to Columbus, Ohio next week. The Don Johnson Buckeye State Classic. Live coverage on ESPN 1 week from today at 12:30 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. When you're in Indy, there's some things you got to do, and one of them, burn a little rubber. The PBA Stars did just that. Earlier this week, Danny Wiseman, Jim Tomek, Chris Loschetter, and Ronnie Russell all had the opportunity to visit Target Ganassi Racing headquarters here in Indy. Wiseman hooking up the boys with an all-access behind-the-scenes tour.
Chris, nice to meet you. Danny. Jason, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. Hi, Ronnie. Jason, nice to meet you. Welcome to Target Chip Ganassi Racing. I'm a big fan of bowling. I met Danny in Texas a few years ago, and just nice to have an opportunity to meet these guys, bring them out and show them our side of what we do. These are the actual car tires that we run on the race car, Firestone Firehawks. This is an exact replica nut. What I'm going to have you guys do is go back to our pit stop car and give you guys a shot at doing what we do professionally.
Yeah, cool. Hey, at least there's not 5 lug nuts. There's only one.
There's only one.
9 seconds, right?
Really? 6.
6.
Under 6.
Yep. 60.
We get 6 minutes.
All right, so after some quick instructions from Jason Sobush, it was time to see how the boys could do. There's Jason. First up, we got Ronnie Russell. Randy, I want you to critique Ronnie Russell's effort here in a second.
All right, well, that looked pretty good from Jason. See what Ronnie can do here. It looks like Ronnie's changed a few tires in his day. Not bad, not bad.
Those El Caminos break down often. All right, so second, Chris Loschetter lost the lug nut.
No! Loesch!
You will not be in the pit stop anymore. Danny Wiseman, all focus for Danny here.
You know Danny wants to win this event. Oh, a little slip. That could cost him the gold.
Bad bump.
Whether it's bowling, driving, or competitive eating, these guys all want to win.
And here's Jim Tomek. Look at Jim go.
Go, Jimmy!
Yeah! He may have a second career here.
Rumor has it he's the fastest jack in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania.
Dun-dun-dun, Ching.
Well, guys, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think of that, huh? Time to go knock some more pins down. What do you think?
Go. Yeah.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks.
All I know is I'm glad I have roadside assistance. I don't want to have to rely on these guys.
That's cold. For the final Motel 6 text to vote question, the PBA's placed the winners of the 4 previous week's questions into a final pod. This week's question is, which bowler do you want to see competing in the Roll to Riches? Text Roll A to 30997 for Patrick Allen. Roll B to 30997 for Chris Barnes. Roll C to 30997 for Parker Bone III. Or Roll D to 30997 for Rhino Page. The winner earns a spot in this year's Motel 6 Roll to Riches. You can text in up to 10 times per day until Friday at 3 Eastern. You'll be charged 99 cents per text vote, plus standard text messaging rate. Ryan Shafer has lost twice to that man, Norm Duke, in the title match. Will Norm's streak continue? The title match begins when we return to Indy. Third of the 4 majors on the Denny's PBA Tour. Rob Stone, Randy Peterson, glad you're with us on this Sunday afternoon. We're taking a look at our Geico Championship recap. Randy?
You got it, Rob. Semifinal number 1, Ryan Shafer defeated Andrew Frawley by the score of 204 to 158. Schafer's clean game takes down Frawley. Schafer says good night, mate.
No Vegemite on that one from Frawley.
Semifinal number 2, Norm Duke defeated Walter Ray Williams Jr. by the score of 208 to 180. Walter Ray opens 2 frames early in the match. Norm Duke, just when it looked like he was going to lose his tour exemption, he's 1 win away from a 2-year exemption.
Right now, Norm Duke, with that guaranteed second-place finish, will move up to 32nd in the world point rankings. The cut line right now is 39. Here is Ryan Shafer, who has no fear of being below the cut line, having a wonderful, underrated season. Through the nose. It has really been some dicey bowling this afternoon.
Scores are low, the lanes are tough, the oil pattern's tough. You don't have a lot of dry boards to the right and oil to the center part of the lane. That's what makes the scoring pace higher. This oil pattern to me looks very, very flat. If anything, it looks inverted or caved in. These guys just got 10 minutes of practice prior to going into this title match. First ball out of the gate, Ryan Shafer goes high. It's just going to be a test of wills. Who can make the best shots, hit their target, stay out of trouble.
Schafer opened up semifinal number 1 with 4 consecutive 9 spares. Had only 3 strikes, but did have a clean round. Norm Duke, 6-0 all-time in TV finals versus Ryan Shafer, including 2-0 in title games.
Norm Duke beat Ryan Shafer twice last season for titles. One of them right here in this very building.
Duke's last title came here, the 07 Pepsi Championship, March 18th.
Little sling blade on the 10 pin.
I knew that 10 pin a couple of pretty good whacks.
And he's using the ball that he used that last fill shot of the last game. Used it in practice, likes what he sees with it. And look at that. Great pin action, great pin carry, and a great way to start the title match.
A resourceful strike for Duke, who sits down with consecutive strikes. Here's Schafer working off a spare in the second.
Much better.
Two different ways to get to the pocket on this oil pattern. Ryan Shafer playing the extreme inside part of the lane. Norm Duke some 15 to 18 boards right of that. Norm Duke going to the new skin, putting it on his thumb, covering up a blister. Wants everything to be perfect in terms of feel when he puts his hand in the ball.
And it's been a while since Norm has had to bowl this much in a week.
There we go.
We've got a match. You know, you talk about the argument that it's bowling a sport. And all you got to do is try to bowl 34 games in 2 days like I did at the Tournament of Champions. I got done. It felt like I got hit by a train. You made a good point by saying that Norm Duke has not bowled this many games. And you're right. And it's taken its toll on him.
There's Indianapolis native Jeanette Lee, the Black Widow. One of the best ever in billiards here.
10-pin party in the pit, my man. 3 in a row for the Duke.
And this just our second ham bone opportunity of the afternoon.
And give you some stats by the Ebonite Digitrax. Norm Duke playing the 5th arrow. Ryan Shafer, the 5th board. Ryan Shafer playing the 24th board. Ball speed similar, 18.5, 19 miles an hour. But some 20 boards difference. That needs to hook. And you could see that ball just didn't have the rotation and the rev rate on it when Norm let go of it. Just a little miss at the bottom of the swing. Watch the rotation on this shot. It just doesn't look like it has quite enough on it. And sure enough, goes a little bit too long, leaving the 2-8.
So another sleeper opportunity here.
So 3 strikes and then a spare for Norm Duke, who's making his first finals appearance of the season. He has an 8-pin lead. The conclusion when we return. I've made a big impact in the world of bowling.
I thought your name was Rob.
Come on.
What is that? Are you Ron Burgundy or Rob Stone?
I'll tell you what, my Aunt Jane was going to have a proper sign in Columbus next week. Our thanks to Steve Henry, Director of Field Marketing for Denny's.
Steve Henry, you owe me $100. Steve Henry owes me. I'm just kidding. Steve Henry used to be out on tour with us. Steve, great to see you again.
Right behind the Don't Get Duke sign, we just lost Blue. The mascot of the Indianapolis Colts is here as well. Here's Ryan Shafer trailing Norm Duke by 8 pins as he begins his 4th frame, looking for a 3-bagger. Wow. Not even close to the head
8
pin.
pounds of rosin on your hand.
He knew it.
He packs that hand with rosin and still comes up and loses this one right at the bottom of the swing. And that ball had no chance to get back.
1-2-4. Played perfectly. Norm Duke, in his first televised appearance of this season, and has moved on to the final, taking on Ryan Shafer. We'll be with you till the conclusion of this, the third major of the PBA season. Good recovery.
We talk about the consistency of Ryan Shafer since 2000. Ryan Shafer is fourth on television appearances with 34. The other three players ahead of him, Norm Duke, Walter Ray, and Chris Barnes. It's pretty good company.
He's finished third in a major 6 times. He's finished second 3 times. Still looking for his first win. Here's Norm Duke in the 5th, up 11.
When you've got angle to the pocket like that, that extreme outside line, the tendency is to carry those light hits. Norm Duke has made a fortune throwing shots like this the last decade. Little half pocket swish zone and nothing but shrapnel. Right now, Norm Duke looking to take a 21-pin lead. 6th frame working on a strike.
4 of his 5 frames have been strikes.
And again, the 2-8 on the left lane. And today, it's just been one big, giant chess match. Players trying to figure out where to stand and what target to look at to try to find a consistent line to the pocket.
His second 2-8 in the last 3 frames, both coming in this left lane. And again, more ball work from Norm. '26 tour titles, 2 of them majors. He won the '94 Tournament of Champions and the 2000 National Championship. So another sleeper put to bed by Duke.
Nice, I like that. Not an easy spare conversion either, especially on a tricky oil pattern.
So Schafer steps up in the 6th, working on a strike. Down 11 here in the finals. Seeking his first ever major win. Been the bridesmaid so many times.
Hold it! Oh,
ooh, boy.
And for all the good breaks that he got in his first match against Andrew Frawley, this is a bad break. Anytime you leave the 4-9, you don't trip the 4 or the 9. Leaves you a pretty tough split to convert. A lot of times you see players trip the 4 and the 9 or one or the other, but when you leave both of them, tough break.
What's the strategy?
You got to slide the 4 into the 9, get the ball to the left side of
that. Not enough cut on that one, so first open frame for Schafer. Lomax look at Ryan Shafer, 28th last week. Finished no worse than 2nd, even though he barely made match play this week. And another challenging spare conversion staring him.
And that shot's not that far off, and it just doesn't make the corner right here, and he pays for it. He leaves it 210, and back-to-back splits could be back-to-back opens late in a title match. The World Championship is not what Ryan Shafer wanted to see.
Norm Duke in the background visualizing, very relaxed.
Come on!
Oh, he needed that.
It's a great try. Things not going Ryan Shafer's way. Maybe it's the mystique of bowling Norm Duke. He's never beaten Norm on television. 4-0 title matches, 6-0 all-time. Duke's got Schafer's number, and it looks as though it's going in that direction again today. Norm Duke working on a spare in a 34-pin lead, 7th frame.
Duke came into the week 51st in the PBA World Point Rankings with 5 weeks left.
And Duke not able to take advantage of the back-to-back open frames by Schafer. Potential open frame for Norm.
Duke beat Schafer here in the 07 Pepsi Championships. 235-219 last March. So his second open frame of the day, first of this title match.
Remember, the last 2 shots on the left lane, Rob, 2-8, 2-8. Let's see what type of an adjustment Norm Duke makes. He's got 2 more frames on this left lane. He finishes the match on the left lane.
Come on.
Up by 20.
Shot of your life. Shot of your life.
Shot of your life. Twice he said that to himself in the last 3 seconds.
That shot there was pured. What a great shot. Leaves a vicious ring in 10. Watch the 6-pin, second from the right, go up and around the 10. And he loved it as soon as he let go of it until he saw the ball drive through the pins. All he's looking for now is a spare. A spare. Let's work on the 9th and 10th frame. And let's see what Ryan Shafer can bring to the table here in the 8th, 9th, and 10th.
This is the 15th title match for Ryan Shafer. Has won just 4 times. He's had a lot of success here at Woodland Bowl in Indianapolis. Has made the championship round the last 3 events here.
Another potential open frame, wide of target, only by a little bit, and just goes to show you how demanding this oil pattern is today.
It's amazing.
I mean, we're talking inches in terms of how much room there is where you're targeting, left or right, to be able to get the ball to the pocket.
That 4-pin almost took down the 2 as well. He went for it, and he had to. Missed it by a slice of carpaccio.
That's nice.
Last 3 frames, back to back to back open frames. And right now, Ryan Shafer is in a tough spot.
Down 32, we open up the 9th. This place is quiet. There's been very little to really get excited about with some of these really challenging leaves.
You know, this kind of stuff happens. The lanes weren't real high scoring this week on television with the setting, the atmosphere, the temperature here in this arena setting. The lanes change a lot. They change fast. They never broke down and got better for the players.
3rd double wood we've seen this title match. First for Schafer. He knocks them both to the floor. Now, today's lanes are going to have a lot of people talking to themselves.
They're tough.
You know, Frawley and Walter Ray are back there doing some mumbling still.
Walter Ray bowled 180. Norm Duke now is thinking one thing and one thing only. I need a mark in the 9th frame and good count in the 10th frame, and I'm going to win my 3rd major.
And 27th total title.
Here. You think he knows it?
He knows he is that close. Needs 5 pins for the victory. What a challenging season it has been for Duke. Be all worth it if he can drop 5 here.
Count it.
Celebrate, Norm. Celebrate.
Incredible player right there. His back was against the wall, and he comes through like only he can do.
No fear of not being exempt next year or the year after that. A 2-year exemption has just been handed to Norm Duke.
Oh, no, I feel the same way.
We said in the outset it was a defiant Duke talking to us yesterday. There were no negative thoughts creeping in his head. And he also said he knew as bad as the season has been for him, he knew he had 2 late-season majors that he could fight his way through and make sure he was in a proper position at the end of the season.
Doesn't matter.
Well, another great week for Ryan Shafer. Unfortunately, he's not going to be happy with another runner-up finish in a major. A very low-scoring affair. Ryan Shafer is going to be in the 150s if he doesn't convert, 160s if he does. Norm Duke, 200. Nice conversion there. Norm Duke today, 208, 202. And that's enough to win him 50 grand, a 2-year exemption, and his 3rd major.
We mentioned for Schafer, this is 10th career major championship appearance, 0 major titles. He has now been a runner-up, a record 4 times at a major.
I'm proud as a 2, man.
Right, you see, hear, and feel the emotion from Norm Duke with this title.
Back-to-back wins in this building. 2 years in a row.
Oh, thank you so much.
We'll hear from our winner, Norm Duke, when we return. The Duke gets his 3rd major. The Denny's World Championship is brought to you by Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com for a free DVD. What will you discover? Go RVing. Welcome back to Indianapolis. Norm Duke has now won the last 2 events here at Woodland Bowl. In March of '07, it was the Pepsi Championship. This time, it's the Denny's World Championship. We'll take a look at our CLR clean sweep and the big messenger in the 2nd frame for Norm Duke. One of his 5 strikes in the title match. He wins it 202-165 over Ryan Shafer, and our winner standing by with Randy Peterson.
Thanks, Rob. Norm Duke, what a gutsy performance with all that you had on the line, the injuries this season, the illness this week, and your bowling career on the line. How were you able to persevere?
I really don't know, Randy. You know, I thought about withdrawing just about every game, but, you know, I kept thinking, you know, I feel like really crap laying in bed, too. So I may as well just be here and feel like hiatus. So I stuck it out.
So now that you have a 2-year exemption, do you take some time off and get healthy?
Well, Randy, I am healthy. Other than this nasty Indiana cold, everything's in check, you know? Shit, but I love Indiana. Did I mention that?
Norm, congratulations. Rob, back to you.
With the win, Duke has tied Mike Albee for 6th all-time with 27 tour titles. Next week, we are in Columbus, Ohio. The Don Johnson Buckeye State Classic. Live coverage on ESPN, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Norm Duke went 208-180 in the semis over Walter Ray Williams Jr., and then 202-165 over Ryan Shafer.